Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram. And heading over to Rumble. Such a difficult platform to upload to, but we'll get a hold of that later on. Telegram, still haven't worked it out, but thanks for all the information. We will sit down one day and we'll get this whole thing sorted. I promise you. Now, thank you very much. Had a great weekend. Hope you did too. Joe Barra, happy 60th. Not till Thursday, but we got in early. Fantastic. Sure videoed us on Sunday doing the chook pen with Joe and Leanne. That was pretty funny. I was henpecked the whole time. Yeah. But anyway, considering the weather's closed in and it's raining and miserable and cold, it was probably a great thing, you know, that we got the chook pen all wrapped and they're all snug, the little chookies, in their hen house with the roof over it now. Everything great. So start laying eggs, girls. Well, they already are, so it's great. Oh boy, it's cold. Now, thank you for all your messages. And I do get sent multiples, and that's fine. But I still write back to you. So I try to anyway. Yes, it's true. Fauci's stepped down from NIAID, National Institute of Allergic and Infectious Diseases in America. Now, why is that important? Well, I'm not saying it is. What is important is the role that he played. Now, that's a private organisation, NIAID, and it runs in conjunction with the CDC, Centre for Disease Control, who run in conjunction with the UN and the WHO, who run in conjunction with WF. But anyway, Fauci has been front and centre and instrumental in bringing about protocols and procedures right across the world, dictating to the CDC and to the WHO. And he's been, if you're in America anyway, but not here, we only get snippets. But in America, it was on the news, you know, on the hour, every friggin' hour. And of course, initially he brought out the information that having these was of no use, no value, because, you know, they let in up to 100 microns and bugs are generally 1 micron, so it was ridiculous. We know they don't work at all, not even remotely do they work. In fact, they cause a lot of problems because people can go do this, and then they think they're protected, so then they take risks they wouldn't normally take. Now, we saw the article on the government website here in Australia saying that only put this on if you're sick, right? So. Oh my God. Ignorance is one thing. I get that. Stupidity is an entirely different level. So when you see people driving around in their car or walking in broad sunlight, or the wind blowing, or riding a pushy with this, it's ridiculous. So anyway, I don't advocate anything. But it shows that they have no idea about a virus. Now, you would know that a few years ago when all things came on and we started educating ourselves, catching up, and then you would say, well, a virus, you realise, is inert. It has no life form. It can't live outside the body, and certainly if it does, it's for very little limited amount of time. It needs cells, which are battery packs, da-da-da-da. Oh, what, you're Dr. Owen now, are you? Oh, you're a scientist now, are you? Remember all this stuff? Because people get scared. You're researching and getting information that they don't have. So the only thing they can do is attack you personally. That's all they can do. They have no other fallback position. So the more you educate yourselves, the bigger threat you become to the chickens in the pen, because you begin to soar. And you're no longer scratching around in the mud and the dirt and the chook crap like those people are. Your friends, they're down there. They don't want you going up above. They don't. Get it back down here. Stay ignorant. I don't want to. In fact, if anything, what transpired over the course of time inspired me more and more and more to continue on and do more research and find out as much as I could, so I wasn't uninformed about what was going on. I needed to know what was going on so that I could have some understanding of what was being said, because what was being said made no sense. I was seeing it on the news. Back then I was watching the news and it was coming up, figures scrolling, this, that, and I'm going, that does not sound right. There's something wrong here. So I'd go and do more and more research. I'd go to the CDC. Then my friends here would say, what are you doing on the CDC? That's American. What's that got to do with anything? That's a spearhead. That's what that is. NIAID and the CDC are the spearhead. They were running all the protocols worldwide, including to the UN and to the WHO. And they were then dictating to the country saying, this is what you got to do. Oh, by the way, if you go to hospital, these are procedures and protocols for treating somebody that has this bug. And little did we know, well, we found out, little was it ever told that at the time, those protocols and procedures and those drugs that they were using was the end of people. Once you started down that track, pretty much 80% of people fell off the planet. Oh, died of the bug. No, he died of the protocols. But let me just digress slightly on that. At the head of all that was this Fauci. Now, I don't give a stuff about Guantanamo, Mars, nothing. I'm not interested, white hats, not interested in it, don't want to know about it, got enough going on. And I have people write to me and say, and I will address this later on in another video, who said to me, 4 years ago, Owen, it was all about America. Everything was America, America, America. You're not saying anything anymore. What happened with Trump? So I've been researching that on the side. Trust me, you have no idea. I've been researching that on the side as well, and thanks, Dave, for the video that you sent me. Quite informative. Wow. And so I've been looking at that as well. Now, you can come at this from many, many different angles. And personally, I have no compunction to believe anything in particular. Now, there's a reason I say this, and it's a bit of a preempt. There's a reason I say it. You can look at it factually and intellectually. You can just look at it and you can pull apart the figures, you can look at what's happened, and it's very, 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 very simple to see how this has gone about. Because the media had been pushing a fear campaign. Now, that didn't mean they needed facts. It didn't mean they needed information that was correct. They could say pretty much anything. And you would know if you've looked around, you've seen those ones where they say, here's the channel and here's the anchor, and they're giving information on a story. It's become apparent in our society that, and then suddenly there's another TV, and that person's go, it's become apparent in our society, and then another one, bang, it's a different TV station somewhere else. It's become apparent in our society, and boom, 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 boom. There's 200 of them in one screen, and they're all saying exactly the same thing. So this procedure and this information was parroted right across the globe. So when we had our TV stations in Australia parroting what I could see in Canada, what was being said in the UK, I began to see a picture forming. Once I saw that picture forming, there was nowhere for me to go. There was nowhere for me to go but to continue to seek the truth. I couldn't stop there because it became apparent to me we were being lied to. And I did not want to stay in the bottom of the chook pen, scratching around down there, looking for some shit to eat. That was not going to be me. Passion. That's what you need. Get angry at what's happening if you want to survive. You cannot give in and fall over. Because if you do, you'll not be able to face what's coming. And if you don't think anything's coming, oh, what a load of shit. That Owen Reed. Oh, my God. Doesn't he talk some rubbish? Yeah, keep going. And the ark was still being built. That's an analogy. It's never going to rain. Now, I don't care which angle you want to come from. I'm not advocating anything. If you want to believe 2 billion Christians worldwide, they've got the last book of the Bible. And according to them, it gives a historical, future, end-time event account. They know what that is. That's 2 billion of them. Now, the interesting part is, if you read the Quran, it has the same thing. Slightly different because they win. Personally, their God's a different God. We won't go into that. What I'm going to say is this. They have the same kind of end time account. They know what's coming. So that's 4 billion, let's say. You see, everybody has their own account of what's going to happen. But it's interesting, if you go into folklore or if you go into various cultures, they have a very similar end time event coming. Now, it can only be right or wrong. That's it. Everything you need to understand is black and white. It's either right or it's wrong. Either what I'm telling you is right or it's wrong. It can't be anything else. It cannot be anything else. Whatever Channel 7's telling you has got to be right or it's wrong. One or the other. You're the one that makes the choices. Only you. Now, you need to understand Fauci played his role. He's stepping aside from NIAID. Now, he won't go away. He'll have other roles to fulfill. But he, like Morrison, has fulfilled his role perfectly as designed and as proclaimed to him by the WEF. They fulfilled their roles. All the G7 leaders have done that. People like Jacinda Ardern, Trudeau, Macron, who are part of the Young Globalist movement. If you don't know what the Young Globalists are, get out of here. They were part of the Young Globalists under the WEF, under Klaus Schwab, which is the Fourth Reich. They were there. They did their job. They knew exactly what they had to do. They went and did it, and are still doing it, some of them. Morrison's done it. He stepped aside. That doesn't mean Albanese is someone who undoes that, because he has a role to play. Two wings, one bird, same bird. Two wings, one bird, same bird. They've played you. There is no such thing as a Democrat Party and a Republican Party. There's no such thing as Labor and Liberal. They don't exist. They only existed within the confines of the structures that were given to us as people to make us think that there was disparity and difference, but they always worked together. You want to know what's really funny? The National Cabinet here in Australia was declared illegal. Could not be put under the Secrecy Act because it was outside governmental cover. So when Rex Parker asked under Freedom of Information for all the paperwork involved in that, Morrison raced back to put it under the National Security Act. So he didn't have to give that information to Rex Parker, who was in the National Cabinet. Morrison was the chair. All the premiers were in there, both sides of politics, and they followed protocols in each state. And Morrison never bucked any of them. He didn't buck Andrews. He didn't buck Gunner. He didn't buck McGowan. He didn't buck anybody. Palaszczuk, he didn't. They went and did what they had to do that they had discussed in that National Cabinet. Rex Parker knows that, and he wants that information. So who's there now? Is it disbanded? Morrison's gone? No. Albanese is now chair. Morrison's brother still remains the chair of APFRA, who ran the entire pandemic in Australia, who wrote the gag orders for all medical staff in Australia Australia-wide, should say, whether you are a paramedic, ambulance driver, doctor, nurse, aged care worker, anything, scientist. You received a memo, which I've read, from APFRA, 100% gagging you. But now people are speaking out, and there will be more. And yes, some of us are saying, why are you doing it now? Why wait so long? I don't care why you waited so long. I just want you to do it. Let's go. Bring it on. I won't judge you. Just bring it on. More. Come on. Out. Get the truth out there, and we'll see how it all goes. Speaking of truth, tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm allowed back on YouTube. Isn't that exciting? I'm going to try and post this during various points today, and that will tell me, as I load it, whether or not they'll allow me to post it. And once I can, then I can go back and get the interview, but I'm pretty sure it ends tomorrow. I have some wonderful interviews lined up, some amazing people, and the beautiful thing about these are they're very raw, very amateurish, but they're very heartfelt. Now, I'm not going to edit them, so what's said is said. I will speak to the people involved to start prior to us doing the interviews, and we'll set a few guidelines and ground rules, but that's it. The great part about these is every single one of them offers hope from a different perspective, from a different spiritual perspective, from a different cultural perspective. It's fantastic. I have really gone out of my way to find these people who I know have something to give you. Hope is what we need. Hope and belief in the future. If you don't have that, it's very hard to stand when all the chickens are trying to pull you down. You have to rise above. You have to. Watching Miyazaki speaking last night. He was doing an interview, and thank you for that video. And I was saying that there are people in this world trying to bring about an economic collapse, but within that are people fighting against it. It really is a battle of good versus evil. And that's where we're at. I think this is the most exciting times of this planet's history. I am grateful, though a little bewildered, that I'm alive to be in this moment. I wish it was 20 years ago when I was a bit more energy. But who knows? The whole point is, this is the moment that we've all been selected for. Right now, many are called, few are chosen. So I'm telling you now, this is your moment to rise and shine. There is no other moment. This is it. Don't get blasé. Don't get sucked into this quietness, the calm before the storm, and think, wow, things are going down. They're removing mandates. Things are changing. Things are fighting. People are fighting. But there is still hell to come. You're still going to get bloodied, broken noses, bloodied. You'll emerge bloodied from the octagon with the world title belt. That will happen. But that does not come without pain and damage. That's why we need support. Thank you to those who've written me, wondering if there's going to be another dinner. Yes, I've waited for someone to do something. Nobody's done anything, so I'm going to do another one. Thank you, Ayana. And we'll organise that. But I'd urge you to gather around you those who have a similar mindset. I'm not talking the same, that you can't debate or discuss or argue. No, similar, who are at least awake a little bit, who have some idea that this is not right. There's something wrong, terribly wrong. Who never agreed when you were told you couldn't catch the football. Because, oh my God, it's coming in, the bugs all over it. Remember that one? That was a cracker. Who don't wear one of these while they're riding their push bike in the sun. Get people around you have some common sense. They'll begin to see and open up. They'll begin to realise. And they're going to need you when this time comes. They're going to need you. It's coming. It's coming. Don't think it's not. Peace and light, that old guy Australia. Like, share, subscribe. Remember, no matter what happens, in the end, we win this. I guarantee it.